Assalamu alaikum. I just did a great live with my new dear friend Hanan, and she's a personal trainer, glowing mama, mashallah. Let's send our prayers her way. She's well into her pregnancy at 36 weeks, and so Instagram, we actually talked for like an hour, and then Instagram had to cut us off. And here I'm going to do just a quick recap and then talk about some of the additional things that I didn't get to bring up there. Just time flies. So welcome everybody who has joined me, and welcome to those of you who catch me on the replay. We were talking about perinatal, postpartum, mood disorders, and just general mental health for moms during pregnancy and postpartum, just things to be aware of. And I went into the definitions of, what to look for, what kind of red flags to see if you may be, or someone might be going through postpartum mood disorder. It's normal to kind of have some of the baby blues. I mean, you went through this massive experience, and there's a lot of changes that happen. It's a clear point of transition. There's actually a term that anthropologists use. It's called matrescence. Just like there's adolescence, which is a very critical point in time for boys and girls, there is matrescence, which is the process of becoming a mother. And it's something that maybe we don't talk about as much. I mean, we live in a time where there's so much commercialization around babyhood and pregnancy. We're taught, there's just this consumer emphasis on the baby shower and the nursery preparation and the endless lists of essentials and must-haves and clothes and things like that, There's also a lot of birthing classes and things that are focused specifically on the birth, which is very good. It's good to be prepared for that. At the same time, though, I mean, there's definitely this imbalance where we see a lot of emphasis on the pre and not so much on the postnatal, postpartum phase. And so this can kind of get to women as like a shocker when they feel like this whole time during pregnancy you're kind of checking up on mom, and then postpartum phase comes along and it's like I'll see you in 6 weeks and then I'll see you in a year, and that's that, and I think the time frames are changing now where they're doing 3 weeks, 6 or 8 weeks, and 12 weeks, which is an improvement, but still, I mean, I feel like we may be lacking in how we care for mamas postpartum. There's a slew of emotions that could happen during that time, and go to the part 1 just to see what kind of things could happen. But we talked about things, I brought up things to do when you're pregnant to kind of help to aid you in preventing full-blown postpartum mood disorders, and also things to look out for in the first few weeks to months. So the first one is just to get your thyroid checked. Often postpartum hypothyroidism and even actually pregnancy is pretty common and can often be missed. And one of the symptoms with that is like, weight gain to where you just cannot lose the weight, and also depression, in insufficient milk production where moms just feel like, I'm not producing enough milk, I'm taking all these herbs and everything, and they're still having problems. So get your thyroid checked. Check for anemia, check for vitamin D, magnesium. You could just get your nutrients checked. Another thing is to just be aware if you have a pre-existing anxiety or depression or any kind of condition, it's good to address those before you have pregnancy, or just work on them during pregnancy so that doesn't intensify postpartum. Another thing is just like exercise, not like, you don't have to go crazy with exercise, but keep up what you were doing before. Lots of walking and things like that, massage, body work, support systems, set those support systems in place. Ask yourself, what calms me, what makes me feel supported, and equip yourself with those things before you deliver your baby. Be mindful about how you use technology, screen time, because that blue light can really affect you. I mean, I remember nursing at night and using my phone and looking up things what I did was I had blue light blocking glasses that I would wear, and I feel like it helped, but still having that light in odd times at night is not ideal. So be really mindful about your screen time, how you're using technology. You know, are you spending it a lot on social media and things like that may not be too good for mental health? Just look into that. Remember the things that bring you joy, and have those things readily available postpartum. So if it's like certain inspirational quotes, certain spiritual prayers, certain funny episodes, conversations with family members or friends, singing, whatever it is that brings you joy, write that down or have that readily available to you postpartum. Make your home a sanctuary in the best way that you can. Know that it's going to be a nest for you to rest. So, and another thing that I wanted to bring up was just couples. So know that you guys are learning together, and try not to have so many expectations on your spouse. It's easy, we want to lean on them, but not so much that they themselves break. They're going through their own experience as well, and their own definition and ideas of parenthood. Be honest and open with your partner. Know your partner's love language. Gaze with your partner. Connect. And express appreciation often. So like even when you're feeling frustrated, like you should know this or whatever, kind of work really hard to think about the things that you're really grateful for in your spouse and tell those things to him. It'll go a long way. And then I talked about, let's see, I got a question here. What would you say on 10K steps on a daily basis? Is it really plenty for daily exercise? So it really depends on the person and where they're at. For some people, 10K seems like so much. And for other people, it's like, that's what I do daily. But I think 10K is actually a good, I guess, general frame point to have for you. That's what I have on my phone, 10K, to try to hit every day. And I tried to do that during pregnancy, and I feel like it helped a lot, especially just having an active pregnancy. I really feel like helped me with labor and delivery. So yeah, I think 10K is good. And then and I think, let's see here. Can you please speak on PCOS? Yeah, so PCOS is actually something that I'm going to have to do a whole separate live for. This one is specifically about maternal health, pregnancy, perinatal, and postpartum mood disorders. But thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to have to do a whole thing about PCOS because, yes, it's very common, and there's a lot to say. So I also brought up some of the postpartum needs that are shared amongst various cultures, and this can be found in Kimberly Johnson's book, The Fourth Trimester. But basically, number one is an extended rest period. A lot of cultures have this, where, in Chinese they call it Zuoweizhe, sitting out the month. Vietnamese, Mexican, Indian culture, they all have this kind of like resting period for moms. Nourishing foods, warm foods, like a mom is very prone to blood stagnation, cold stasis postpartum, so nice warm stews and soups and easily digested foods that have a lot of mineral contents like seaweeds. Bone broths are great because it has a lot of collagen in it. It's just these essential building blocks for mom. The other one is loving touch. So being connected to mom, she's getting that loving touch from her baby. So that's why like skin to skin is so important for mom and baby, but also just kind of having that physical connection with mom. She can do belly wraps. She could get postnatal massage if that agrees with her, things like that. Another thing is having the presence of wise spiritual companionship around mom is very important. For everything, for like things on like how to breastfeed, caring for the healing body, foods to eat, right? So some sort of connection there with other women during that sensitive state. And another one is contact with nature. That's really important. And this doesn't mean that postpartum mama needs to go out and full-blown go hiking. It could be anything from like sitting close to the sun on a window while nursing, or in a full moon, just kind of getting that natural energy, having herbal teas and things like that. Ask yourself what you need for support. What do you want your environment to be like? Who do you want to be there with you? Let's see. Sanam, do you do the crying out method? That I'll have to talk about another time, but like sleep, there's so many different philosophies around sleep. And even in the cry it out method, there is a spectrum, right? So there's like leave baby to cry it out for as long as it takes. There's like the progressive check-in every minute, every 3 minutes, every 5 minutes. So and then there's the more attachment parenting, where there's absolutely no crying it out. And baby sleeps with mama. So with that, I actually do discuss this in detail with my ladies specifically, but I know where they're coming from, what their general parenting philosophies are and things. So that would really depend on the family and the mama. Let's see. Here. Postpartum weight loss tactics after this, okay, so yeah, you don't want to worry about weight loss after those 45 days, but if you do notice that you lose a significant amount of weight, like these are like moms that like 2 weeks postpartum, they're back at their normal weight, and they have like some feelings of like anxiety, they get their hair loss and things like that, then get your thyroid checked, because that could very well be postpartum hyperthyroidism that's followed by hypothyroidism. So you want to get that checked. And then generally for weight loss, I mean, yes, nursing helps, but at the same time, nursing makes you very hungry. So you end up maybe eating more than you need to. But that's still okay. It's just be mindful about the foods that you are eating. So make sure that you kind of, especially if you're breastfeeding, say, my baby is eating what I'm eating through my breast milk. So just eat really good nutrient-dense foods and keep movement going. So still walking and doing, yoga if you're into yoga, or just some sort of movement is a good thing. And warm foods will actually also help with weight loss. So, and if you still have things like swelling and that you would need to check with someone individually. But there are some herbs that I think I'm going to have to post a series of recipes on my page to address this, such as lactation cookies. So did you make lactation cookies to help with supply? I did. I made these fenugreek cookies that I feel like they helped me. They also tasted delicious, with dates, red dates, jujube dates, and warm herbs, and I feel like it really helped. So yeah. So let's see, where was I? Yeah, mindset. Another thing is kind of just going inward and silencing that outside noise and chatter, and sometimes even like the influx of advice that you might be getting that doesn't resonate with you. Somebody else's story is not necessarily your story, and so you need to be able to have that shield for yourself. Tune into your intuition. Like alhamdulillah, we're given this gift, this natural sense of what is right for you and your baby. And also know that there really isn't a right way to experience motherhood and postpartum and all of these things. Your way is yours alone. It's your own journey. So just kind of own that. Slow down your mental processes if you find that you're kind of like overthinking and feeling tense and all of that. And do that, slow down, just so that you can notice and feel your emotions. I think I'm going to post this too. There's an emotional chart where you can kind of pinpoint on the word of what you're actually feeling. Because sometimes you're like, this just feels so hard. And it's like, okay, what do I mean by that? So kind of ask yourself, navigate your emotions in a way, in a way that is tangible, so that you can do something about it. Something that I also like to tell women is to use this time of transition, which is like one of the best times to create a change, to review your personal script. what have you told yourself to be true? How do you speak to yourself? How do you speak about yourself? You know, what are your ideas of what postpartum is supposed to be? So like for some of us, we may not have ever heard a negative postpartum story, and we have this Cinderella idea of it being just like amazing, me and my baby, and it's going to be wonderful and great, and everything is going to be fine, and I don't need help, I'm going to be okay, I can do this, and I'm generally a really healthy person, and then the shocker of postpartum comes. And then there's the other end of the spectrum, maybe more of what I experienced, where I heard a ton of horror stories about postpartum. It kind of even scared me from having kids earlier of how horrible it is, and your life will never be the same in the negative way, and like all these horrible things. And maybe it has to do with the fact that I also, my practice is a lot of these things. But my problem is maybe I internalized some of those things. And then when postpartum did come, I was like, oh, brace yourself for the horror, you know? And so it's a time to really reframe and tune into that internal conversation and internal dialogue that you have with yourself. Just kind of be real with yourself and envision what you would like your postpartum to be in a very practical way, and create support systems for yourself. Some other things that I wanted to say, like just like some herbs that are really good for the postpartum period is saffron. Saffron is a wonderful antidepressant. It also moves blood stagnation while tonifying blood. Very good for moms. Another one is rooibos tea. It's caffeine free, and you can turn it into a chai by mixing it with warm herbs like fennel, clove, nutmeg, cardamom, ginger, cinnamon, and it tastes wonderful. Another foods for postpartum moms, again, are like the stews and the bone broth and things like that. Having baths with herbs like calendula, comfrey, lavender, motherwort even. These are really good, soothing for the mom. You can mix it with magnesium flakes or with sea salt. The diet, again, should be just really rich in omega-3 fatty acids, selenium, B vitamins, choline, and just kind of eat the rainbow when it comes to vegetables and fruits. And other ways that other people could help, if you're listening and you're like, I'm not anywhere near the postpartum phase, but I'm sure you know somebody who is. There are some things that you should know that moms might be relieved by. And it's these three, many things actually. Help her bring her food, ask her what you can clean, what you could do to help her. Like when she's there, don't have like long conversations with mom unless she wants to, but be cautious about that. Don't it could be taxing for a mom for a new mom to talk too much. So be there more as like, consider yourself like a staff member, that you're like helping her to do things. But validation, you know, something like you are struggling and it's normal. Reassurance, tell her that you're doing the best you can, and you're doing an excellent job. You're doing a great job, you know. And then support, again, how can I help you? Asking her that. So these are just some things that I wanted to, I guess this is the part 2. And I'll try to make some posts here and there about specifics or some recipes and things that might help you guys out. So this was, again, about maternal mental health. Of course, you work with a qualified mental health professional if there's any kind of postpartum depression, anxiety, OCD going on. You want to work with a psychologist. I feel very fortunate that when I work with my ladies, we work in a team. Often we work in a team with other healthcare providers to help her. And so cognitive behavioral therapy, talk therapy, sometimes medication, although I'm not a big fan, but hey, it depends on what's going on, and every individual, there's no judgment. So yeah, I hope this helps. Inshallah. Thank you so much for those of you who have joined in. Please check out Hanan's Instagram for part 1, and I will keep in mind future posts for what was mentioned here in the comments. I'm just scrolling through and I'll take notes. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day and Friday tomorrow and weekend ahead. Assalamu alaikum. Bye, everybody.